I always thought the strange noises in my apartment were just the building settling, until I found the hidden room behind my closet. When I moved into my new apartment, I was thrilled. The rent was cheap, and the place had a certain old-world charm, with creaky wooden floors and vintage fixtures. The large, ornate windows let in a lot of natural light during the day, and I loved how the sunlight danced across the hardwood floors. But at night, the apartment felt different, darker, more confined, as if the walls were closing in. I didn't mind the occasional creaks and groans at first. After all, it was an old building, and I assumed it was just the wood expanding and contracting. But after a few weeks, the noises started getting stranger. They weren't just the typical sounds of an old building. I would hear soft thumps, as if someone was moving furniture in a neighboring apartment, and the sound of something scraping against the walls. It would always happen late at night, around 2 or 3 a.m., when the world outside was silent. One night, as I lay in bed, I heard something that made my blood run cold. It wasn't just a random noise this time. It was a voice, a faint, whispery voice coming from somewhere within the walls. It was so soft that I couldn't make out what it was saying, but I was sure I heard it. It sounded almost like someone trying to get my attention, a low, desperate murmur that sent chills down my spine. My curiosity turned into obsession. I started staying up late, trying to catch the voice again. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, every creak and groan of the apartment making my heart race. I noticed that the sounds seemed to come from the same area every time, from the wall behind my bedroom closet. One particularly quiet night, I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed a flashlight and a small hammer and made my way to the closet. My hands trembled as I moved aside the clothes and boxes that were packed in there. The noises were louder now, definitely coming from behind the wall. I pressed my ear against it and heard something that sent a wave of dread through me. Slow, deliberate scratching, as if something or someone was on the other side, trying to claw its way out. With my heart pounding in my chest, I started tapping on the wall. It sounded hollow. Panic mixed with a morbid curiosity overtook me, and I began to peel away the wallpaper. The plaster underneath crumbled easily, revealing a thin layer of drywall. I tore through it, each rip sounding like thunder in the stillness of the night. Behind the closet wall was a small, hidden room, just big enough for someone to crawl into. My flashlight beam cut through the darkness, revealing the ghastly sight within. The room was a cramped, foul-smelling space filled with old, decaying blankets and a filthy mattress covered in stains. Scattered across the floor were small animal bones and what looked like rotting scraps of food. The stench was overwhelming, and I gagged, stumbling back. But the most disturbing thing was the wall opposite the hidden entrance. It was covered in deep scratch marks, hundreds of them, as if someone had been trapped in there, desperately trying to escape. The scratches formed a chaotic, haunting pattern, some fresh and others so old they had faded into the wood. I turned to leave, but something glinted in the corner of the room. It was a small, old-fashioned notebook, its cover tattered and stained. Against my better judgment, I reached in and grabbed it. The pages were filled with frantic, scribbled writing, almost illegible, as if written in a state of panic. The words that stood out most were repeated over and over. "He's in the walls." I ran out of the apartment, not stopping until I was outside, gasping for air. The police came and inspected the place, but they didn't find anything definitive. They told me that the room was likely used by a squatter, someone who had been hiding there for who knows how long, but that didn't explain the voice I heard. I moved out the next day, breaking my lease. But even now, as I sleep in a new apartment miles away, I can't shake the feeling that someone is still there, hiding within the walls, waiting for the next tenant to discover their hidden lair.